Welcome to my workshop. My name is Tomasz and you're watching Casual DIY channel. In today's video we're going to be making a wooden wall art which I got inspired by one of my plants in the house, the Monstera plant. Right, so let's start the project. First of all, let's head over to my laser station. Now, I'm not very artistic and I could not draw for nothing the shape of that leaf. So I decided to buy a stencil of Etsy. I'm going to drop you a couple of links. They're not affiliated or anything. It's just, I'm going to show you the place where I managed to pick them up. And as you can see, I'm just using my laser to actually cut out the shape of that leaf in 4mm plywood. Okay, now you do not need a laser for this project at all. If you've got a scroll saw, you can use that. You can use a jigsaw, or actually even you can buy a fret saw that costs absolutely pennies and make this project with no problems at all. However, I've got a nice toy in my workshop and I just want to use it, and it's absolutely awesome. If by any chance you're interested in lasers, anything like that, or how to use them in woodworking environment like I am just now, I've got a few videos for you on the topic of these lasers, so I'm going to drop some links down below in the description of this video so you can check them out. And now it's time to check out how it came out. As you can see, the laser had no issues in cutting 4mm plywood in a single pass. And let's have a look at the quality of the finished product. I think it came out absolutely fantastic. Fantastic job. Really happy with that. Right, time to move to the next stage. Now I'm using my track saw to break down the piece of plywood I've got. It's 6mm in thickness, and that will be the base for our project. Now it's time to cut out the oak board to the correct length, and for that I'm going to be using my miter saw, and then to the correct width, and I'm going to be using my table saw to do that. Right, the next step is absolutely optional. The leaf I've got, I'm actually going to paint it in boho green. I'm just using Dulux normal paint. Probably not the best paint for it, but that's what I've got in the workshop and that's what I'm going to use. As I say, you can leave the leaf as it is. You don't need to add any paint to it, any colors. However, I want to give that really interesting look to it, so I'm adding a bit of color. Right, let's head over to my router table. I've installed 6mm straight router bit to cut out a groove in all 4 pieces of oak that will become the frame. That will allow me to slot in the plywood sheet I've got inside of the frame and have a nice and very sturdy frame. Okay, now it's time for the frame. I've set up my miter saw to 45-degree angles, so we're going to have nice mitered joints on the corners. To make sure I've got the correct measurements for the whole frame, that everything marries up correctly, I just offered the plywood sheet to the oak side. I've just marked where I need to cut the next miter, and with that I'm just going to go around the perimeter. One thing I want to tell you here is just to sneak up on the cut. So make the first pass just slightly further away from the line itself, and what you can do then, slide the piece of timber a little bit closer to the blade, just like so, and make another cut and another cut until you get to that perfect line as you marked it up. Now it's time for the boring part, obviously a bit of sanding. I'm sanding all the pieces, going through grids 80, 100, 120 and 150. 150 I think it's plenty for this project. Right then, now it's time to glue up the frame. The friction fit is actually very strong and good on this, so I'm just adding tiny little bit of glue around the perimeter, in the grooves and on the mounted joints, and that will be plenty strong for this project. I'm just going around the whole frame, making sure everything fits together and the mounted corners go in nicely as they should. Put few clamps on it and wait for the glue to dry. Okay, with the frame now glued up, corners came out absolutely fantastic, no issues at all. I'm going to break the edges on the frame itself just with a bit of sandpaper, as I don't want to have any roundovers or anything like that. I do like the sharp corners, but you know, you need to break them down a little bit so you won't have any problems in the future. Let's glue in the leaf itself. I'm just using tiny amount of glue so I don't get any squeeze out on this, as it would be very hard and messy to remove any squeeze out here. And just place it wherever you want it in your project. I'm just going more or less for the middle here, and I'm just going to apply some pressure with a tin of paint. After the glue has set, I'm just going to secure the whole thing with spray varnish, clear satin with 2 coats with slight denibbing in between coats, and that should secure the whole project really nicely for years to come. And check it out in its full glory. Perfect miters, absolutely fantastic piece. Now check this out. I think it came out absolutely brilliantly. Really nice and tight miter joints on this one. And you know, it's something that it will be very difficult to find on the market and buy. And making yourself, it actually gives you a lot of pleasure and joy. I think it came out really cool. And I'm just going to show you a few photos from my house where it will sit for a while until I find a better spot for it. I hope today's video was a little bit inspiring to you, and maybe it brought you some really cool design ideas as well. If you like project videos like this one, or projects related to your workshop, anything like that, DIY related, I've got some playlists just over here for you. You can go and click on those videos and have a look. Maybe something will pique your interest there. So go ahead, click those, and I'll see you there.